Finn's cafe was his curated kingdom. Exposed brick walls, ethically sourced single-origin beans grinding with meticulous precision, the low hum of vinyl spinning, it was peak hipster haven. And Finn, behind the counter with his perfectly rolled sleeves and ironically detached air, surveyed it all with a kind of weary pride. He loved the craft, the coffee, the carefully cultivated vibe. What he didn't love were the trends. Especially the dietary ones. Keto, paleo, vegan before it was cool, and gluten-free. Oh, especially gluten-free. To Finn, it often felt less like a necessity, more like a fashion statement, another layer of performative wellness that complicated his perfectly balanced menu. He prided himself on his pastries, flaky croissants, dense sourdough muffins, decadent brownies. All proudly containing gluten. He wasn't deliberately difficult, he just believed in tradition, in well-tested recipes, in flour. Then, one rainy Tuesday afternoon, the bell above the door jingled, and she walked in. She didn't fit the usual mold. No elaborate yoga wear, no air of demanding superiority. Just normal. Maybe a little tired. She scanned the glass case filled with his glutinous masterpieces, her brow furrowed slightly. She approached the counter hesitantly. "Hi," she started, her voice quiet. "This might be a long shot, but, do you have anything, gluten-free? Like, actually gluten-free? I have celiac disease." She gave a small, almost apologetic smile. Pretty much anything genuinely safe to eat would be amazing right now. Finn felt the familiar internal eye roll begin. Here we go, he thought. Another complicated order disrupting the flow. He almost gave his standard, polite but firm sorry, "We don't really cater to that." He opened his mouth to say it. But then he looked at her. Really looked. Saw the genuine flicker of hope mixed with resignation in her eyes. This wasn't a trend chaser. This was someone genuinely struggling to find something, anything, safe to eat. There was a vulnerability there that cut through his cynicism. And maybe, just maybe, a sliver of professional pride pricked him. He was a creator, wasn't he? Couldn't he create something for her? Actually, he heard himself say, surprising even himself. "We don't usually, but hang on." He disappeared into the small kitchen space behind the counter, ignoring the questioning look from his barista. His mind raced. Gluten-free. Okay. He had almond flour somewhere, left over from an experimental phase. Eggs, butter, sugar, fruit. Yes, raspberries in the fridge. It wouldn't be his usual fare, but maybe he could make it work. It felt strange, working with these unfamiliar ingredients. The almond flour behaved differently, the texture wasn't quite right at first. He adjusted, compensated, focused with an intensity he usually reserved for perfecting his espresso pull. This wasn't just baking, it was an improvisation, a challenge accepted. A small, individual pie began to take shape. He slid it into the oven, the scent of almonds and warming raspberries starting to fill the small space, mingling unusually with the coffee aroma. While it baked, he stole glances out into the cafe. She was sitting at a small table by the window, nursing a bottle of water, watching the rain. Waiting patiently. Finally, it was ready. Golden brown, bubbling slightly at the edges. Not perfect by his usual standards, perhaps, but made with intention. He placed the small pie on a plate, added a dollop of cream he wasn't sure was entirely appropriate, and carried it out himself. He set it down in front of her. "Almond flour crust, raspberries," he said simply. "Should be safe. Let me know." She looked down at the pie, then up at him, her eyes wide with genuine surprise and gratitude. You just made this." Needed a challenge, Finn mumbled, trying to regain his cool demeanor, suddenly feeling strangely exposed. She picked up her fork, took a hesitant bite. Her eyes closed briefly. Then, she opened them and smiled. Not a polite smile, not a small, apologetic one. A huge, radiant beam that seemed to light up the gloomy afternoon. A smile of pure, unadulterated delight and relief. And in that instant, Finn's carefully constructed wall of hipster cynicism crumbled. Completely. He wasn't just looking at a customer enjoying a pastry. He was looking at her smile, sparked by his effort, and it hit him with the force of a perfectly pulled double espresso. He was, quite unexpectedly, smitten. The next week, a new item appeared on the handwritten chalkboard menu, tucked discreetly near the bottom. Dessert for the special ones. The barista raised an eyebrow. Finn just shrugged, a faint smile playing on his lips as he wiped down the counter, occasionally glancing towards the door. Some trends, perhaps, were worth paying attention to after all.